Now at 10, a plea of not guilty could move a Neosho County, Kansas murder trial one step closer to trial. Plus, the Missouri Department of Conservation expresses a growing concern over timber theft. And the Joplin Humane Society says it's exceeding its capacity for dogs.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
One day after a Southeast Kansas man pleads guilty in a murder case, his wife does the opposite. This is KOAM News at 10. I'm Dow Quick. 23-year-old Dakota Patton was reported missing in April of last year. His body was discovered in a field in Neosho County, Kansas the following month. According to court documents, Clint Nybarger was the last known person to see Patton alive, arguing with him at a gas station over a woman. While Patton was missing, Nybarger and Kimberly Thomas got married. They then traveled to Missouri for their honeymoon. That's where police arrested them both. Authorities originally charged both of them with first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder. Yesterday, Clint Nybarger pled guilty to amended charges in Dakota Patton's shooting death. As part of his deal, the prosecutor is recommending Nybarger receive a sentence of a little more than 24 years in prison. However, today the court entered a not guilty plea for Nybarger's wife, Kimberly, meaning her case could end up in a jury trial. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy now for our first look at the weather.
Yeah, and it turned out to be a nice Wednesday for us today. Of course, we had our first frost freeze, which the average is about October 17th, and today was the 16th, but we did set a record low, which was set way back in 1966 of 31, so the new record of 29 degrees started at 64 degrees. Now, we want to remember this because this is a cycling weather pattern, so if we were well below normal 3 times this winter, this part of the pattern is going to return, so we're going to have some really big cold snaps as we get into the winter. All right, 42 in Joplin, 38 in Pittsburgh, so temperatures are dropping. We're going to go kind of mid-30s later on tonight, so we're going to be pushing that frostiness across the region with clear skies and light winds. Warming up the next few days. We'll look at that here in a bit.
See you soon. The Missouri Department of Conservation expresses a growing concern about timber theft, specifically the theft of black walnut trees. The trees are harvested illegally from either someone's property or a public area and then sold to a lumber yard or sawmill. The department says not only is this illegal, it can also be heartbreaking for property owners.
You got to think about what you're taking. Trees are special to people for a lot of reasons. And the walnut tree could be special because they like to pick walnuts, maybe because it's a property barrier, or just maybe because it's an old, mature tree that has a lot of meaning to this family. So when somebody cuts down that tree and takes it off, that tree is gone.
Missouri Walnut, a local American-owned lumber yard in Neosho, says they fully cooperate with local and federal law enforcement to help make sure that any person who might be suspected of timber theft can be identified. The Joplin Humane Society is currently not able to accept dogs as it's currently over capacity. City of Joplin says if someone sees a stray dog, they can call the Joplin Health Department and Animal Control.
We care both about pets and also care a lot about people. If we find a stray dog, we do our very best to get that animal home safe and sound.
An area business has jumped in to help the Joplin Humane Society during this difficult time. Ridgeline Roofing and Solar will host its second annual Chili Cook-Off. That event takes place October 25th from 11 to 1 at 1710 East 32nd Street. Contestants can enter for $20. Tasters and judges can enter for $10. There are prizes and bragging rights on the line. All proceeds will go to benefit the Joplin Humane Society. Some students at the Carthage Junior High School got to sink their teeth into a tasty event today. Hispanic Food Day gives students of Hispanic and Latino heritage the opportunity to bring in and share their favorite dish. The event always serves up a good time for the kids who get to see their teachers outside of the usual classroom setting. One teacher expressed his love for the event.
Those who are my students who are Hispanic, they get to share their culture with those who aren't, and that's why I like to just mesh those two together.
I think today I feel like It's really good, and just the meaning behind it and everything. I love it.
Larry Brooks, also known as Senor Brooks, to his students teaches 7th and 8th grade exploratory Spanish at the junior high. Congressional candidates for the 2nd District of Kansas discuss their views on election integrity. That story's coming up. And history buffs in Kansas City, Missouri get a treat: the opening of a 100-year-old time capsule. Election day is less than 3 weeks away now, but voters do still have time to learn more about the candidates running for office in their areas. Candidates running for U.S. Congress in the 2nd District of Kansas are Republican Derek Schmidt and Democrat Nancy Boyda. KOAM sat down with both candidates to learn about their positions on everything from the economy to abortion to immigration. We also asked them about their level of confidence in election integrity.
There are states I'm not as confident in. An example of that is Pennsylvania, which was certainly in the crosshairs in this last presidential election. And so I do worry a bit about some of those states.
So it's the hard work of rebuilding trust. And I believe that the legal system, if we look at everything that's gone through the courts, we have seen that there has been allegation after allegation. And this is why the 10 Commandments say, if you bear false witness, things are never going to go well.
You can check out these interviews in their entirety, unedited, on our website, koamnewsnow.com/elections. In Pennsylvania, Vice President Kamala Harris launched a new push to win the support of Republicans. Former President Donald Trump is working to woo the Hispanic vote with an appearance on Spanish language network television. Christian Benavides reports from Miami.
Joined by Republican supporters in battleground Pennsylvania, Vice President Kamala Harris said if elected, she would work to build unity.
And on the other hand, the choice of someone who I think we can guarantee will sit in the Oval Office plotting retribution.
On Wednesday, Harris sat for an interview with Fox News, which began with the contentious issue of border security.
And from day one then, we have done a number of things, including to address our asylum system and put more resources, getting more judges, what we needed to do to tighten up penalties and increase penalties for illegal crossings.
In a televised town hall with women voters in Georgia Tuesday, former President Donald Trump touted his White House record.
We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We had never had an economy. And remember this, we also had the safest border in the history of our country. We never had a border that safe.
As he seeks to return to the White House, Trump has called for the mass deportation of people who are in the U.S. illegally.
We want workers, and we want them to come in, but they have to come in legally. They have to love our country.
Wednesday, on Spanish-language TV network Univision, Trump fielded questions from Florida voters. Trump still trails Harris with Hispanic voters, but polls show her lead over him with that constituency is much closer than the percentage of votes President Joe Biden received in 2020. Christian Benavides, CBS News, Miami.
100-year-old former President Jimmy Carter cast his ballot in the 2024 election today. The Carter Center says the Democrat who is living in hospice care cast his vote by mail. His son, Chip, recently said his father was trying to live long enough to vote for Kamala Harris. The contents of a 100-year-old time capsule entombed in the side of the Liberty Memorial Tower in Kansas City, Missouri, were unveiled today. That's the National World War I Museum and Memorial. Officially, 15 objects were put inside. They included film, newspapers, a copy of the U.S. Constitution, a Bible, and a copy of the American Declaration of War from April of 1917. But it also contained unlisted items. They waited until today's unveiling to open several of those items. They turned out to be a letter from then President Calvin Coolidge and a message from General John Pershing, who was commander of the American Expeditionary Force during World War I. They also found seeds and a printing plate from the Kansas City Star. A little bit later, keeping an eye on your vehicle's tire pressure when the temperature drops.
And we're keeping our eyes on temperatures dropping again outside right now. We're going to look at that coming up.
Enjoy.
Well, of course, it turned out to be a nice Wednesday for us today after record lows this morning, but it's no secret that we need some rain. In fact, we haven't had a single drop so far in the month of October, and we're almost moving into day 17. So we definitely need rain, and to add on top of that, September was a very dry month. For the year, 26.68, should be approaching 38 inches, so we're over 11 inches behind where we should be for this time of the year. Nice shot. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. And those temperatures are dropping again. A lot of us are sitting upper 30s to lower 40s at this point in time, and will continue to drop off as we go through the overnight hours. Now, we are going to start to warm back up. Starting tomorrow, southerly winds increasing. Winds out of the south, 15, 20, upwards to 25 at times. And that will help our temperatures start to warm back up. We're going to see this again on Friday, so this means it is going to be kind of breezy as we go through the next couple days. All right, clear skies. We'll stick with the clear skies as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. Nothing going on across the Central Plains, dominated by a dome of high pressure. You can see that clockwise flow around the area of high pressure. So until this breaks down, we're not going to see anything get in our neck of the woods. As we go through the next several days, high pressure slowly moves east. It allows the system to drop in out toward the west, but they kind of fight each other because the high pressure doesn't want that system to move in, so it kind of keeps it out to the west for a while. And it just kind of slowly walks in our direction as we go through the weekend, Sunday, into Monday and Tuesday with some rain chances, which is at least good because we need anything we can get across the area. So those mid and upper level clouds will start to increase on Sunday, and then by Monday, some showers start to press in, especially Monday afternoon, Monday night, into Tuesday morning, which we greatly need. Until then, we are going to stay dry. Cold tonight, warming up next few days. Look at our lows tonight, mid 30s. May get a little patchy frost in spots, but most of us will stay above that mark. Let's work through the daytime hours on Thursday. We're going to stop at the noon hour. Temps into lower 60s. Once we get to late afternoon, we're going to be sitting right around 70 degrees. So Thursday, fantastic day. Thursday night, chilly again, not as cold. We'll drop back into the mid 40s. Let's go into Friday afternoon, a little bit warmer. High temp 73, 74 degrees. 36 in the morning, high temp of 70. Let's check out four-state Friday night high school football. This is some hoodie weather. 63 at kickoff, 55 by the fourth quarter. And if you are heading to Carthage, Dow and I are going to be out there on Maple Leaf. Chilly start, right around 50 at 8 a.m., but a quick warm-up during the daytime hours on Saturday. 70 tomorrow, 74 Friday, 77 Saturday. Rain chances moving in by Monday.
It's going to be a nice day, nice weekend for the Maple Leaf Festival.
Yeah, it looks fantastic.
Thanks, Doc. Don't forget, you can be the first to know about today's weather with the KOAM Skywatch weather app. Get severe weather updates sent straight to your phone, free of charge. You'll find it in the Apple App Store, the Google Play Store. Just search for KOAM Skywatch weather app. As the outside temperature does drop, so does the tire inflation pressure. Make sure each tire is filled to the vehicle manufacturer's recommended inflation pressure, which is in your owner's manual and on a label located on the driver's side door frame.
Common thing that we don't think of is the air inside the tires. So over time, is just with each 10 degrees it tends to drop, you can naturally lose 1 to 2 psi. So frequently air checking them is going to maintain right even wear, keep your tires safe and performing like they should.
Now, do not inflate your tires to the pressure listed on the tire itself. That number is the maximum pressure the tire can hold, not the recommended pressure for your vehicle. The National Weather Service just grouped certain advisories together to make them easier to understand. Nicolette Zangara shows us how the change is being implemented.
Effective as of this month, the National Weather Service is grouping certain watches, warnings, and advisories together to make them easier to understand. For instance, instead of issuing a wind chill warning for higher winds and an extreme cold warning for calm winds, it will be consolidated to just an extreme cold warning.
We want to really emphasize that it doesn't matter whether there's wind or not as far as that cold temperature. So if it's -10, whether if it's calm or if it's wind's blowing a little bit, that cold is cold.
These advisory thresholds look different from one region to the next. As you can see for the cold weather advisory, there are 3 different regions in the Ozarks alone. That means in Harrison, if a cold weather advisory is issued, temperatures need to be 0 degrees or colder. But for Springfield, that number is even colder at -10 degrees. As for tonight's freeze warnings and if they're going to be issued for your area, that's going to depend on what temperature your area hit this morning. If a freeze was already observed, you won't see another freeze warning until the next growing season.
From Branson to West Plains and south is going to be in that frost advisory for tonight. So if you were in a location in these areas that maybe you didn't get cold enough to impact vegetation last night, these areas we are concerned that tonight may be that one kind of last night for them. So for the rest of the area, we're not issuing anything because last night really kind of did it in for the vegetation.
These changes aren't just at NWS Springfield. This applies to the entire country to keep people informed about hazards.
So if they hear extreme cold warning, they know whether they're in Springfield, Missouri or they're in New York City, they know what they need to do to stay safe.
Still ahead, 2 Coffeyville Red Ravens received Player of the Week honors, and Miami High School softball heads to the state tournament. John Dales has those stories and more coming up next.
Interest rates are falling. At Ashley.
Hey, welcome into sports. I'm John Dales. Tomorrow morning, the Class 4A Oklahoma High School softball state tournament gets started in Oklahoma City. The Lady War Dogs of Miami have earned a spot at state after winning both regionals and super regionals. Today, their supporters send them off in style. Miami High School softball hits the road this afternoon for Oklahoma City and the Class 4A state tournament. Lady War Dogs got to this point after coming back from a loss in their first game of that best of 3 super regional, then winning the next 2, both on the road at Wagner, which exemplifies this team's toughness and grit.
I kid you not, we came back that night and we hit out on the field right after. So to know that, with watching film and all of that too, you just have a good gut feeling as to, winning it all. And I think, like I said, it really gives us a good, push to even be better after beating the number 2 seed.
It's really cool. We were fortunate enough to get there 2 years ago and kind of get some experience and get some, the nerves shaken off. And for them to go back, 2 years later, is really cool. I'm super excited to watch them. I think they'll thrive in that environment this year.
Well, Coffeyville Community College football is off to a very solid start in its first season under the direction of head coach Nick Dubler, and has a 4-2 record to show for it. 2 Red Ravens are named Players of the Week by the Kansas Jayhawk Community College Conference. Tight end Breck Long is the Offensive Player of the Week. This comes after he had 3 catches for 125 yards and 3 touchdowns in a win over Iowa Central. Then linebacker Marquise Lane Owens is the Defensive Player of the Week in the conference. He recorded 11 tackles, which included 1 sack and 3 tackles for loss in that road win over Iowa Central. Red Ravens have a 2-game winning streak. They try to stretch that to 3 this Saturday at home against Hutchinson Community College. Well, high school softball district tournaments take place in Missouri over the next couple weeks, and this afternoon, 2 of our local schools play in a quarterfinal matchup. Carl Junction heads on the road to McDonald County for a 4-5 matchup in the Class 4 District 6 tournament. Mustangs win it 6-3. They score the first 2 runs of the game in the bottom of the first inning. They ride that momentum on from there. That sets up a date with 1 seed Marshfield in the semifinals of the district tournament. That is scheduled for tomorrow evening at 5. And closing things out with the MLB playoffs, Game 3 of the National League Championship Series tonight in New York. the Dodgers take back control of the series after losing Game 2 on their home field. They win 8-0 on the road in New York, and they have taken back control of home field advantage. I talked earlier about maybe Subway Series between the Mets and Yankees setting up for that, but the Dodgers look very good tonight. They've looked convincing in their 2 wins.
It could end up being a intercoastal series. We'll see what happens. We'll be right back.
The interview set for K.
The Maple Leaf Festival continued in Carthage tonight with the annual Night of Praise. The event featured live musical performances with support from local Christian radio stations.
I believe it's time for the church to unite, to be one voice. We were created to be one church. And I know we have differences and different styles, but tonight is just about us being one, and that's the goal. And the goal is to sing and to worship God. It's happened in the Old Testament, the New Testament. It's the heart of God for his people to come together as one and to worship God.
This is the 58th year for the Carthage Maple Leaf Festival, and at least the 20th year the festival has featured a Night of Praise. Again, that continues through Saturday with the parade, and the weather, the temperature is going to be cool and comfortable as you would expect from fall.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. 60s, or actually 70 for us tomorrow, 74 on Friday. I was helping out building Chris's 7-day or 10-day for the morning, so I messed up the days. Obviously, I need to build it again.
I'm forecasting that tomorrow will be Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see if I hit that one correct. The final sports note.
A busy day for us tomorrow in the sports world. We're going to hear from the Pitt State football team as it gets ready for its homecoming game. We also got a lot of high school football all throughout the state of Oklahoma.
All kinds of exciting stuff coming up. And don't forget, the morning show starts at 5 a.m. and let's make it a great tomorrow.